Still reddish at the base, but the old ones, which used to be all red, super red, is now just purely green on mine. So if I give it more light, the fuzziness of the stems will go back to red. And this one also ends up to be one of my favorites because of the shape. And it's fairly easy. Sometimes I even forget to water this at the same time that I water most of them, but it's very forgiving. I find that, well, I recently repotted this one because it deserved a newer pot. It outgrew the smaller pot that it was in. It was a 5-inch, and now she's on a 6-inch pot. Next is my Philodendron Burle Marx. I also have a Burle Marx Fantasy that I'll show a clip later on. So Burle Marx is considered one of the more common philodendrons, but what makes this special is that this was a trade from a friend. Well, actually I bought this from my friend. Her name's Bethany from Florida. She was consistently cutting her Burle Marx, and it was just like this tall. And then almost 2 years after, it's grown super tall and deserves its own moss bowl. So I make these moss bowls out of wire, some sphagnum moss, and then the main foundational structure is like a metal stake coated in PVC. And then this one, the ones on the far right of the screen, is your Philodendron bipennifolium, or also known, more commonly known as your horsehead philodendron, I believe. It does have like this silvery, no, it's not silvery, like bluish green tinge to it. The top leaves are not that mature anymore compared to the ones at the base because it's obviously grown in greenhouse conditions back then, but in my household it just gets mediocre kind of care, so it doesn't really look like a horse anymore. And then let me just bring this in front. So this one is a combination of a Philodendron pedatum. I think this is the pedatum. This one has a hairier petiole. And I also potted it together with a Florida ghost, which my friend Jackie gave me. So shout out to Jackie. So the Florida ghost and the pedatum, however you want to say it, they look alike. But one should have been ghostly, or one should have produced more variegated leaves. I think this one was from Thailand before Jackie sent it to me. So I don't know if it wasn't really variegated, or the parent specimen it didn't really have good genetics. But this one is a prolific grower, so I'm not mad if it's not super variegated. I'm just glad that it's alive, really. And yeah, I mean, this one's fairly easy. It used to be like on an awkward side of the living room, which barely got enough light, but it still puts out. It grew taller in about 1.5 years that I've had it. So that's basically all the philodendrons that I have over here. And then I will be moving on to the other room, which... Okay, so the philodendrons that live in this other plant room is, well, my Philodendron verrucosum, which I had to try. Well, this is my 3rd try to be exact, because I failed on my first 2 tries. Now for the soil, it's in that chunky aroid mix. I have a temporary moss bowl for this one. This is the newest leaf that's unfurling. It's so gorgeous. Look at the backside, red undersides. So this is again a Philodendron verrucosum. These are all new leaves under my care, so they're becoming bigger. The older ones are starting to wilt out and die, but the new ones are doing so well. Behind that is a Philodendron hastatum, or a Philodendron silver sword. It used to be like a very small cutting around this tall. My friend Hugo gave me this, and I just placed it on this bowl. Normally I thought it wasn't like a climbing philodendron. It used to be like a compact one, like a Birkin or a Pink Princess, but I guess this one's trying to become leggy and, a climber. Next this is actually a Philodendron, Florida ghost. The ghostly leaves have since they started to become greener, but the new one is hopefully gonna be a ghost leaf again. I'm not complaining this one barely just gets temporary artificial light from this grow light, but I'm not complaining because the leaves are always getting larger, and the fenestrations, or the laziness, perforations, oh, I even forgot the term, are just being consistent. So I'm just happy. And then at the back, this is a Philodendron mexicanum. It used to be a really juvenile form, but after a year or two, it started to develop the multi-lobed leaves. So I'm not so mad. And come to think of it, this one just gets artificial light. So I'm not really complaining. And then over here, we have a Philodendron Rojo Congo that I actually neglected already. And it's still doing okay. This one is a Philodendron pastazanum. Well, one of the pastazanums that made it. The older leaves are looking super damaged. It had thrips infestation, but it's okay now. But of course, the damage is irreversible. So once it puts out this gorgeous leaf, I'm just gonna cut off the older leaves because that was my main worry. If I restarted it, the leaves will become juvenile again. But apparently, I don't think that'll happen. And then on this side, it's just this weird, awkward corner on top of a dresser. We have a Philodendron mame. This one's the newest leaf. It's smaller, but I'm not so mad because the speckling is still consistent. And then this is the better specimen of my Philodendron pastazanum, which is looking huge. This one's the newest leaf, so we'll see. It's looking a little bit yellowish, but not super mad. So those are the philodendrons on this other room. I also have a Philodendron bipennifolium aurea, which is kind of like the gold version of this horse head, which I ordered from, well, overseas, from Thailand. Someone just recently corrected me, so I should say Thailand without an H. So I stand corrected. That one lives inside my bio orb. If you haven't seen my bio orb assembly, I didn't really plant it. Well, I did plant it back then, but it's starting to look goldier or more aurea right now after 2 years. And then I also have a Philodendron melanochrysum. I got it as a small cutting from my friend Kay, and right now it's just like trailing towards this vine, woody thingy that I have in my bio orb. And I also have a Philodendron Burle Marx Fantasy, which I surprisingly got for like $25 a year and a half ago. And then now they go for like crazy prices. So since we're talking about prices, I just want everyone who watches this, take it easy. I know the hobby is becoming popular and you wanted to jump into, jumpstart your collection as fast as you can. But I don't know, we should all consider that this sudden demand in the plants, it's making the growers grow them more, but there are also other sellers that are abusing the trend. It's because of the demand that the prices have skyrocketed. So I don't know, it depends on your, financial situation or whatnot, but I always try to buy from reputable sellers. I want to give my business towards people that have dignity, or you want to make sure that the people that you're transacting with have good reviews so you won't be duped. Especially when I was starting my collection, I was kind of paranoid that people will just, price gauge me or something. So it's something that I always want to instill with my friends. Like, if you have a better judgment, or you could always like fish around first for better pricing or whatnot, just so you're not taken advantage of in a weird reason. And before I forget, I also have some trailing philodendrons above our sofa. And I have my Philodendron cordatum neon, or your neon philodendron, heart-shaped philodendron. I also have the green version. I also have a Philodendron silver stripe over there, which I'm just gonna insert a video somewhere. And then I also have a Philodendron micans. So a micans is also heart-shaped, but it's kind of like more velvety. You can mistake a melanochrysum, the very juvenile form, with the micans because both are very velvety and heart-shaped. I'm not a botanist. I haven't had formal education other than the botany classes that I've taken in high school and in college or uni. But, there are other indicators, like, how experts would, consider like the petioles and stuff. So just do your research. And for me, I guess this will be the end of my philodendron collection. So styling wise, they're very striking. On Instagram, I often post them grouped together because, the textures and the shapes of the venations of the gloriosum against the markings of a pastazanum and the speckles of a mame, they always go together. And, it's just like doing a hard painting, So they always look good against a white wall, or if you are someone who likes more rustic textures like a wood shingle or your painted walls, they always go nice they always have a nice contrast against these leaves. So yeah, about plant care, I hope I've shared enough. It's something that is very personalized and unique. So you have to do your own research. You will eventually know how it is when you already start growing your plant, because no matter how much advice you try to apply to yourself without knowing your own personal growing conditions, those won't work too. However, there's a lot of material readily available, and that's what I appreciate with the current day and age right now. A lot of these creators on YouTube as well are putting out a lot of their plant care videos. So please do check those out, because those will be a really good benchmark on how you could care for your philodendron collection. And I guess that's it for today. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. I'm trying to put out more content here on YouTube. Like this video, comment if you like it. If you're not following me on Instagram, I'm CyberNated. Here's my account, because I always post like daily stories over there. I post more often on my Instagram, so check me out over there as well. If you're on Facebook, I have a Facebook page. And yeah, basically that's it. So comment down below, because I think I want to do my Huperzias or my epiphytes collection next, because there's not a lot of them anyways. So yeah, comment down below which collection you would want to see, and maybe what things I could improve on, because I think I'm just talking a lot. So yeah, that will be the end of today's video. Thank you guys.